Welcome to Module 3. In this module, we'll go over touchpoints and collections. A touchpoint is just the ETO method of inputting data about your program activities throughout the year. A participant might need a touchpoint for a survey they filled out, a pre-post test they took, their attendance, or their grades. Your program might also record general touchpoints to record a large event or for an anonymous survey you completed with school staff. You may have various touchpoints for your program or none at all. When you gain access to your program site, discuss which touchpoints you need to enter data for with your supervisor. Touchpoints often have specific instructions for use. Please consult with your supervisor and your program's data tracker to make sure you know what touchpoints your program is required to complete. I'm going to move over to ETO to look at touchpoints. Today we'll practice with the after-school program touchpoints. On your dashboard, under Touchpoints and Collections, click on Record Touchpoint. Select the touchpoint you would like to record. For now, we're going to use after-school grades. Next, select the participant you would like to record a touchpoint for, and click Continue. Now you're ready to fill out the touchpoint. Make sure to enter the touchpoint date at the top. If you're recording from a paper form or a survey that was filled out, use the date that it was taken on the paper. Some questions will be required. These are designated with this red asterisk. I'm going to go through and enter this touchpoint. Don't forget to click Save at the bottom. You can also enter the same touchpoint for multiple participants at a time. So now let's try it one more time. We're going to select grades again. And this time we're going to select 3 different students. This is possible when all participants received the touchpoint on the same day. So for grades, let's say that everyone received their grade on March 1st, 2019. And now I can enter any information that is the same for all students. So in this case, I'll write their grade, and then I'll write their quarter. But the rest of the information is going to differ per student. In order to fill out that information, I'm going to click on each of the students individually. In this case, let's say Carolyn had 2 absences and received these grades, whereas Andrea had 0 absences and received these grades. When recording participant touchpoints for multiple participants at once, it's really important that you go through and select each student at a time. I'm not going to save this touchpoint. Instead, I'm going to move on how to edit touchpoints. Now, if you want to edit the touchpoint you just entered, the one we did for Alexis, you're going to go back to your dashboard and look under my recent touchpoints. The first one on my list is from the grades touchpoint I just entered. I'm going to click on this pen to the left of the touchpoint name where it says Update. This will bring me back to the touchpoint, and I can go through and edit it for any changes I need. Make sure to click Save at the end. Now, let's say you wanted to edit a touchpoint that doesn't show up on your recent touchpoints, maybe something that happened before this month. In order to do that, you're going to go to Touchpoints and Collections and click on Edit Participant Touchpoint. Then you'll search for the participant name, find that participant, and you'll be given a list of all of the touchpoints that have been taken for that participant. In this case, Alexis has touchpoints for attendance and grades. In order to find the touchpoint I'm interested in editing, I click on that little box to the left with the plus mark in it. This expands the box so I can see all of the after-school grades Alexis has taken. And then I can go in and edit the touchpoint that I'm interested in. Okay, there's one more type of touchpoint that you might take, a general touchpoint. A general touchpoint is not specific to any individual participant. It's often an anonymous survey, or it is used to record information that the program staff did, such as a large event they held or organizational outreach events. To take a general touchpoint, click on Record Touchpoint under Touchpoints and Collections. And this time we're going to use LAYC events. Like always, I need the date. And then I can fill out the information required for this touchpoint. Notice I never had to select a participant. The LAYC events touchpoint is used for many programs, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this one out. Back on your dashboard, if you want to review any general touchpoints you've already made, you're going to click on Edit General Touchpoint under Touchpoints and Collection. And you'll see all the general touchpoints taken for your program. In this case, it's LAYC events has been taken a few times. So I could edit the same touchpoint just like I did a participant touchpoint by clicking on this pin. Okay, now we're going to review collections. Collections are the new and improved way to group your participants into cohorts. We most commonly use collections to take attendance for a group of participants. Not all programs use collections, so please consult with your supervisor and check your data tracker to see if you should be using collections. You may have a collection to distinguish a grade, class, or cohort that is part of your larger program. For example, Cynthia's third graders might be a collection inside of Bancroft after-school program. Many of you may be familiar with the old way of doing this, called groups. Staff are responsible for managing their collections to make sure they contain the right participants. So first, I'm going to show you how to create a collection. On your dashboard, under Touchpoints and Collections, select Create Collection. Your collection type will always be Program Collection. Then you will search for and select all of the participants who belong in your collection. And you'll click Continue. Then you will name your collection. And then you save. Immediately after creating a collection, the collection dashboard will appear. Here you can triple check to make sure that the correct participants are in your collection. We're going to move on to an example of when you would use a collection, and we're going to take attendance. You'll start by selecting Record Touchpoint under Touchpoints and Collections. And now we're going to select After School Attendance. A bar should pop up asking you to select a subject type. This time, select Program Collection because we want to take attendance for the entire collection, not just a few participants. A list of all of your collections will appear. Select the one you just created and click Continue. Now here is your new touch point for taking attendance. As always, there's a place to insert the date at the top. Notice you're on the tab marked All. This will set a default value for all of your participants at once. Go ahead, mark everyone as present, let's say for 60 minutes. And then finally, we select the type of programming that happened that day. In this case, I'm going to choose Field Trip Activity. Keep in mind to always choose the correct attendance category based on the activities you have going on. Remember, all of these fields are required. By marking this information on the first tab titled All, you have given each participant in your collection the same information. If one or more of these participants were absent, however, it is so important that you click on their name and change their attendance value from present to absent. So let's say 2 of our participants were absent. Finally, I can click Save. Today we use the after-school attendance touchpoint as an example, but your program's attendance touchpoint might be called something else. Some programs have an attendance category option and others do not. As always, check your data tracker for the touchpoints and categories that are relevant for your program. Let's go back to your dashboard, and now you can see all of the touchpoints that you just created. Notice that those that were taken under your new collection are labeled that way. One more thing I want to teach you guys about collections is how to review all of your program's collections. I'm going to go over here to Touchpoints and Collections and click on Edit Collection. This will show me a list of all of the collections that are currently in my program. I can edit, disable, or delete any of them. That is all for Module 3. Thank you guys.